Good afternoon, sports fans from all around the globe. I am your host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and this is the Breakfast Bankroll, your midday market report, where myself and our special guest, our Friday guest, Andrew McInnis of McInnis Picks and Wager Talk, will break down some NHL, maybe some college football, even some NFL for this weekend, to get you all set up for the weekend and hopefully get you to the window to cash some tickets. So without further ado, the man with the plan, the NHL guru himself, the one and only Andrew McInnis. Andrew, my brother, what is happening?
What's up, Jeff? I'm not sure why I'm red like this. I don't know if it's a green screen malfunction. It looks like I just came back from the beach, but it is great to be here. I know you and I have had kind of some back and forth, each of us having some commitments or just some troubles. And I hope everything's going great your way. I know you guys had some terrible weather and some power issues. So it's just good to see you, man. It's been a busy day, and I'm thankful to be on here with you.
You know, it's funny because it seems like forever since the last time we did a show, and you're like a staple for us on Fridays. And we have had some bad weather over the last couple of Fridays. And then, you know, you have some internet issues, you have some personal issues, and life gets in the way and life gets busy. So feel blessed every time we can connect on a Friday. And I'm looking forward to the next half hour with you. Full slate. I mean, you know, the World Series is now over. So one less sport to concentrate on. But, you know, now we're at over the halfway point in the NFL and in college football. We'll get to the football slate, but I love talking hockey and pucks with you. So it's been a few weeks. Tell everyone here watching and listening how the pucks have been treating you so far this year. And, you know, we'll break down today's menu once we get to that.
I'll tell you what, Jeff, it didn't start out great. You know, it didn't start out the way I thought it would be. And I guess it's because there's going to be variance. Number one, there's going to be teams that you might not have expected to do well that's going to do well, and vice versa. But it's a lot of, you know, teams like the San Jose Sharks getting off to a great season. The Buffalo Sabres, two teams that when it comes down to it, when they've played 82 games, I don't think they'll have had that great of seasons, you know. And now that things have kind of settled in a little bit, I'm starting to catch some winners on a 10-2 run right now in the NHL. And I'll tell you, you know, one thing I've been doing is I've tried to get a handle on the volume I want to play. You know, do I want to be high volume? Do I want to be low volume? And what I've done is just select, you know, one or two stronger plays. But if I feel like I want to play other stuff, I'll just lower my unit size. And right now I've gotten a real good handle on some totals in the NHL. As much as I love to bet side plays, and I'm really a situational guy with side plays, totals seem to be my thing right now. And we'll see if I can keep it rolling with those. But I like how we've kind of established, you know, each team's kind of played a good amount of games so far. We're a month in, and we can kind of work from there versus, you know, first week of the season, we're not being as surprised about some teams like the Sabres.
Let's talk Sabres. Vegas, slow start. You know, that city was blessed with an amazing first year, inauguration year. And then I guess spoiled from there on out because everyone expects them to keep winning and getting, you know, to the conference final or to the cup. In come the Sabres, Jack Eichel. What were your thoughts? What are you thinking moving forward? Is this Vegas team gonna struggle all year, or is this the piece that really needed them to maybe jumpstart them?
Thoughts on the trade in general? I'd say that I don't think people are giving Buffalo enough credit for what they got back. I think your average person that watches hockey that doesn't know, you know, names outside of All-Stars would think, oh yeah, you know, Vegas got Eichel and they gave up some picks and a couple guys, but you know, I think that even a guy like Alex Tuck, he's going to fit in really well on Buffalo. He'll be back soon. He'll make an impact on that team right away. And, you know, the picks, I think, even though they're not going to be too high of picks, they're still going to be great for them. And, you know, I think they got several different guys. or both guys they got are going to make a difference in the team. But Jack Eichel, that whole situation, I think I made a statement yesterday, and I think I might have gotten a little carried away. I don't think Jack Eichel's a drama queen, but I think in general there was drama going on both ends with the GM and the player. And here's what I want to say about that is that people think that I was saying that because he wants to get surgery. I don't think anybody should ever be prevented from getting a surgery of their choice. That's not what I'm saying. But I found media clips of him saying he wants out of Buffalo well before he even needed surgery in general. And I grew up a basketball guy. I played basketball. I actually am, I have way more history with basketball than I do hockey. But I feel like I know hockey betting more and stuff like that. But the reason why I bring up basketball is that it felt like some player that's really talented on the Detroit Pistons just got moved to the LA Lakers, and now they're the happiest kid in the world on Christmas morning, and it just rubs me the wrong way. But at the same time, I think it's a good old hockey trade. It's two teams that got what each of them wanted. Vegas seems to never really be shy to go out there and get former captains, get big players. And, well, Buffalo, they've been rebuilding since I was 8 years old. So they're going to keep rebuilding. And I think it's a good stepping stone for them.
Kind of compares to what the Bruins went through last year with Taylor Hall,
Yes.
player that, again, had bounced around, all the talent in the world. But if you ask his former teams and teammates, kind of a cancer in the locker room, not well liked, an eye guy. And now he gets to Boston. He had a good final end of the season. He had a decent playoff run. And it's a player that the Bruins and Bruins fans want to embrace and hope that he would be sticking around long term. Is that kind of fair to say, kind of sort of the same?
I'd say so, yeah. And I mean, you look at a guy like Hall, and the funny thing is, obviously his career started in Edmonton. And you look at what that trade ended up being, and it's kind of shocking. What was it, Larson for Hall? I mean, that's kind of crazy to think that was the trade at this point. Geez, I bet you the Oilers would love to have Hall on their team right now. Yeah, I think it's a real good example because players get looked down upon for, their anger, I guess, for being on these poor teams. And I'm a huge loyalty person. Like, I hate when a player, finishes their draft contract and then they go off and play somewhere else. It's like, hey, this is the team that drafted you. This is the team that decided they wanted you to play in the NHL or NBA. So I don't really like that aspect of it. But I think that with a guy like Hall, yeah, he's found a Bruins team that has a great history, a great franchise, and they're a winning hockey team. And so I think we're starting to see less of a hothead version of him.
All right.
I wouldn't call him a hothead now, but I'd say he might have been beforehand.
Yeah. And again, the past history, these kids growing up as kids and how they got to the NHL, never mind how they got there, their college careers, before their college careers. I mean, these guys knew at a certain age that they were going to be in the NHL. And as you talked about the Buffalo Sabres. Now, I grew up a diehard Bruin fan and still am. But I remember when those Sabres were good with the Peralta of the world, and they were always a tough out, and they were fun to watch. But I think nowadays it is real hard when some of these guys feel that they're getting stuck on the Devils of the world, the Sabres of the world, and some of these other teams that they don't have any outs. They don't care that they're getting paid $5, $6, $7, $8, $9 million a year. Okay. They're just more worried about their name, their brand, and the fact that they're not making the playoffs. Never mind, conference finals and Stanley Cups.
Well, and that's just really the thing. I think that you find a lot more quote for quote like hotheads actually on the worst teams than the better teams. Would you agree with that? I mean,
yes,
because like you said, they're just like, well, screw it. I'm only worried about the accolades at this point because I know my team isn't going to be very good. So, I'm right there with you. By the way, I like the sweater. It looks nice.
Thank you. You brought up the Detroit Pistons to the Lakers, and I think that's a hell of a true statement. And it was kind of on social media yesterday. Von Miller goes to bed at 4-4, wakes up in 7-1, a Ram. And Von Miller, again, a Bronco will be a Bronco. His name will be retired. He has that one Super Bowl. No one can take it away from him. Now he's got a chance at one of the favorites, and go to the Rams and have a good chance to, not only be in the playoffs, but maybe make it to the Super Bowl as well.
Yeah, I think it's and the funny thing is my take on that kind of stuff is different for how long you've been in the league. I feel like the older you get, you get more leeway to kind of chase rings and bounce around a little bit more. So I don't have any problem with that. I think good for him. I hope he does really well with that. And I find it so funny in the NHL when you see that happen. Like Jeff Carter yesterday playing for the Pittsburgh Penguins. That was one of my best bets. And guess what team he was playing against? The Philadelphia Flyers, which is his former team from many, many years ago. But I barely even remembered that,
It is hard to keep up.
Like if you would have told me Jeff Carter played in the Flyers, I would have had to think about it for a second.
And I'd be more remembering that than who he's with now. So that's the hard thing, is to keep up with all the moves. Wager Talk, where your home base. I pulled it up. We got plenty of stuff to talk about today. You had 2 college football games. You got some NBA. You got some NHL. We can start wherever you would like, and then can go into tomorrow's games and even close with some NFL. So anything you like here, what you're eyeing and seeing to help out the people watching and listening.
Yeah, not much for me in NBA tonight, but I have got a big 5-unit play up in the CFL, but I have a free play that I really like as well, and it's on the over in the Hamilton and BC game. We got a back-to-back doubleheader tonight, an East Coast, West Coast game. Hamilton and BC, I love the over 43.5 here, Jeff. Hamilton, they started the season off as an under team, big time. Defense was elite. Offense was struggling quite a bit. And they had one quarterback injured one week, another quarterback injured the next week. And we have seen some changes from them. Jeremiah Masoli is back. I think that he is back in action. He's going to get it done. And I really, really think that, this team has changed. They're not going to be as conservative as they were to start the year off. And we see a BC Lions team that their defense gets scored on by everybody, but their offense has kind of gotten back on track. And as handicappers, we tend to overreact to stuff. And the Winnipeg Blue Bombers have the best defense in the league. And BC played the Winnipeg Blue Bombers twice in the month of October. And we saw BC barely score any points, Jeff. But they couldn't score if their life depended on it. But it was against the Bombers defense. And right now, the Bombers are levels above any team in the CFL. And in this game in particular, I think Hamilton's defense has actually gone the opposite way, and their offense has gone the opposite way. It seems like as the season's progressed, their offense has gotten better, but their defense might have gotten a little bit worse. And if you remember when you and I started doing these shows together and talking CFL, the totals were up there in the late 40s or early 50s. And now we're seeing a 43.5 here as this total. So I really, really do like that over 43.5 Hamilton versus BC.
Going back to CFL for you, you're getting longer into this season now. Any surprises going back to 6, 7, 8 weeks ago when we started talking about the CFL, where they are today, and their actual records and where the season is going?
Well, you know what? I believe in full transparency, and I'll just say this: I was completely wrong about the Edmonton Elks. Completely wrong. And I think it's all right every now and then to, misjudge a team. I think the best part of what I could have done is to just recognize that and get off the train as fast as I could. And I'll tell you, I jumped into the bushes while that train was moving. And that's kind of what you have to do if you think a team's going to be something and they don't end up being that. I mean, Trevor Harris just got traded. James Wilder Jr. is injured. There's just and Jamie Elizondo, the head coach, it was his first year with the Elks. He was nothing like what I thought he was going to be. So disappointed in the Elks, but I'll tell you what, I've been very impressed with the Argonauts this year. I kind of thought it would be 100% Hamilton first place in the East, and it would be Toronto or Montreal in second. And it seems like Toronto has really battled every single game they've played in, so I've been impressed with them.
NHL tonight, anything jump out at you?
I don't love the card tonight, but there's one spot I wanted to mention here on the show with you, and I hope you're on the same page as me in this one. I know that you've been releasing some hockey as well, and I'm looking at the Vancouver Canucks, Jeff, on the money line. I'm not a huge analytical guy, math guy, but I'll tell you, with the availability of these websites that we have these days, it's hard not to be. You know, like the information that we can gather, it's pretty awesome. And right now with Nashville, they are overachieving big time. Like what the numbers they're putting up, their shooting percentage, their expected goals, it's just way different than what's actually happening to them. And I think for Vancouver, it's quite the opposite in the different way, where they've kind of played a little bit below what their value is and what I expect out of them. So I think that this is a great spot for them. I locked it in around minus 130, Canucks on the money line at home. And a lot of people forget that even though there's lots of returning players for this team for Vancouver, there's lots of guys that change lines and they're still developing chemistry. So I feel like Nashville's luck will start to run out. They've been playing some decent hockey, don't get me wrong, but when you rely heavily on your goaltender and your defense and you're scoring some goals from angles that you probably shouldn't score from, eventually we start seeing some variance. So one play I do like tonight, Vancouver Canucks on the money line is a great play. And I got some stuff on the other games as well. But what about you? Anything popping out to you today in the NHL?
It's funny. Yesterday we went 1-1 in the NHL. We've had some bad luck so far in the NHL. If we could have graded our selections after two periods, I think I'd be hitting it around an 80-85% clip. We've been on the wrong side of 2-goal meltdowns and then losing in OT. So we've been trying to gain some traction in the NHL. Last night we got the 1-1 split.
Okay.
I feel we were gifted. We had Toronto last night.
Nice.
Yeah, scored late and then won in OT. And then I got to ask you about this. We took it in the old, I call it the banana in the tailpipe. The numbers didn't add up. It looked so wrong, and we jumped on it and we got smoked. We were on Ottawa last night, and the numbers just didn't add up. When's the last time you saw Vegas in Ottawa and only minus 110, 112, 113? We took the plus 104. We got hit like a bus there yesterday on that one.
That's tough. That's tough. I love how you're like me, Jeff, where you just you take it comedically and we move on, and it's good to be able to laugh at yourself. We're not supposed to hit 80%. We're supposed to hit 55.5, 60, 56, 7, and we can have winning seasons. But I actually had the over in that game. And I just barely squeaked by there because I didn't really get much help from the Senators that you backed. And look, I'm not going to sit here and say, look, I would have been on a different side. But the only reason why I wouldn't have played Ottawa in that spot is just looking at the performance that Vegas had against Toronto. I feel like they needed some team to take some anger out on. And I felt like Ottawa might have been that team. Toronto played their best game of the year against a depleted Vegas team without Carlson, Stone, Pacioretty, and I don't know. I think if there was a team that Vegas would bounce back against, I thought it might have been Ottawa. But at the same time, like you said, I mean, this is still a team with so much talent, getting a really great price with them. A Robin Leonard, who's is, he's talented, so it's interesting. But I think the Senators, I think that they're a team that are going to consistently play spoiler, but then we see yesterday what happened with them, and who knows? Who knows?
And that's the point for ourselves here, trying to read the market. And when it smells so bad, or I call it the stench of the night, when you release these games and you get the texts, the DMs, like, are you kidding me? When you cringe walking to the window, placing a wager on a team, or you cringe when you go online to place that wager, more often than not, those games come in. It's when you're on the same side as the public and the whole world is holding those tickets. They usually don't come in.
Trust me, I understand. And there's no worse feeling than that. The funny thing is, sometimes it's like it depends on which night it is and what type of play it is. But if you see all kinds of people on one play, sometimes it's like, good. You guys all take that play. I'm on the Penguins, Last night I had so many people telling me that I shouldn't lay the number with the Penguins, with the injuries they've had and stuff like that. And I think that we're at this point in the season, like I've been saying, where everything that we thought going into the season, we can still think. Like, I think Vancouver is going to be a decent team this year. I don't think Calgary is going to be as great as they've been playing, right? We can still think those things, but at the end of the day, we have to recognize what's happening, And I think that right now, Pittsburgh is a team that has proven that they have depth. I mean, they literally could have anybody out and somehow still win a hockey game. And not a lot of teams can say that, and I think people are thinking Philadelphia is much better than they are. And, our hats off to you for that Toronto pick. I leaned that way as well. And I think it was a great game for them because, albeit they came back late in the game, Jack Campbell-Sue played really well, and their defenseman had a pretty good game. So hats off to them. How about the overtimes yesterday, Jeff? I mean, I don't know about you. I never bet draws besides the playoffs, but somebody I do a podcast with, Alex B. Smith, he had plus 320 Panthers Capitals draw. Hats off to him for that because, a lot of draws last night.
And you could see that coming. It was 4-0, 4-1, 4-2. And if you were on the Panthers side, you're like, oh, no, it's not coming, is it? And there it is, 4-3, 4-4. And it was almost like the NFL game last night where the Jets were driving for the old backdoor cover, which everyone on the Colts minus the 10 were like, here we go. And they were gifted, a ball and the turnover. It's like the Rams on Sunday holding the 38-0 ticket, and here comes Houston with 22 straight for the hook in the cover there. I'm pulling up the NFL card for Sunday. Anything there jump out to you? Anything that you've been leaning, seeing? Anyone you're hearing in your circles that jumps out at you for this Sunday?
I like the Cleveland and Cincy game under the total. Yeah, Cleveland's just an absolute mess right now. Their offense isn't looking good. It doesn't seem like there's chemistry with any receivers. We're seeing players get released. They've always been a team to rely on their run game, but the run game can only take you so far if you can't throw the ball. Cincinnati, well, people called it a sandwich spot last week. It seemed to be one because last week was not pretty for them. And I think they're going to want a good defensive performance. And, well, the Browns' defense hasn't been too bad either. And I think 47 is a little bit high. So I really like the under in that game. Baltimore, I like them in the first half to cover the first half in their game. You got some pass rushers injured for Minnesota. Minnesota haven't done well against teams that can rush the ball. They're 21st ranked, I think, in the league against the run. With a quarterback like Lamar, I've already locked him in over 62.5 rushing yards. I think it's a big game for them. I think that Minnesota plays too conservatively, but they're the kings of the backdoor covers. They've played in so many close games this year. I think every game but one this year so far for Minnesota has been decided between one possession, which is why I'm looking at the first half for Baltimore. But and my Green Bay Packers. I'm a Packers fan. I'm not sure if I've told you that before. I think I might have, but I mean, what's the old fashioned saying here, Jeff? I mean, bet numbers, not teams. Is that the saying? I mean, I don't know. The number moved quite a bit here. And I think what a lot of people said was super true in the fact that the number change. It doesn't really necessarily mean what Rodgers is worth. It means the difference between him and Love. And I think that he can cover this point spread here. So I like the Packers.
We always talk about, it's not the logos on the front of the jersey or the names on the back. It's strictly numbers. And so you talk about the Green Bay, Kansas City. And it's funny because people remember what they saw last. And a Kansas City team, again, that didn't cover against the Giants. And then that actual line was Kansas City -1.5. And then overnight, and then once it was released to the public, Green was -1, even 1.5 in a few spots. Then comes COVID, and then Rodgers, and then Vegas moved that to 7 the other way, cut to 7.5. Now you're seeing the buyback on the Packers. And so, it's almost like that Jekyll and Hyde here, Andrew, is that I think Kansas City is 4-15 against the number the last 19 games. And everyone knows that this team can't cover. Now Vegas will say to you, well, here's 7.5, and almost like try to ease you into the Packers. Well, I don't think maybe the Packers are going to win, but I think they're going to cover. And now it's just the, Mahomes to Hill show, and they put up 35, 38, and, Jordan Love looks like Kevin Love on the Cavaliers, and struggles out of the gate. So it's definitely going to be interesting.
I like that one.
So I'm looking at this menu here, and again, I think you brought up Cincinnati, Cleveland. It's a Cleveland team that's 4-4. They release OBJ today on his 29th birthday. Happy birthday, OBJ. And a Cincinnati team coming off a whooping against the Jets. So which Joe Burrow and Bengals team will it be? And I sense more sense of urgency for the Browns. They lose, they go to 4-5. So that game's going to be interesting to us. A lot of locals like New England against Carolina. No Darnold. Potentially McCaffrey will be back, but I think the Walker quarterback, offensively, they're going to struggle. A lot of people I'm hearing like the under 41.5 there on that game. And there was one other one I wanted to bring up quickly. The Arizona-San Fran game, okay? Like Dallas and Minnesota last week, where you could tell when the line flipped to Minnesota -2.5, Dak wasn't going to play. Well, and Dallas still won, okay, which just shocked the hell out of us. But Arizona opened up at 1.5. It's been leaking the whole time. San Fran is -2.5 right now at the Westgate, -2 all across the Vegas Strip. That's telling me two things. A, Hopkins isn't going to play, and B, I don't think Murray's going to play, to be honest with you. And they're both going to be game time decisions. So I wanted everyone to just take note on that one and be careful. And just because a guy's out, or just because a guy is not playing, doesn't mean you run to the window and it's almost like in the NBA. You just, when there's an injury, I see too many people run into the windows. And based upon injuries, you're in or you're out. So I just want everyone to be careful there.
And it's always like the odds makers a lot of the time know more than we do, or just as much. And people think, I got the edge on the odds makers. There's an injury. Well, they know that. They know that's my favorite thing I hear. And I'm not trying to put myself better than anybody, but a lot of my friends, they bet on sports, and I've got lots of friends that hit some big winners. They're parlay players and all that stuff, Jeff. But oh, this guy's out for the Lakers tonight, they're not going to play well, or this guy in hockey, this goaltender's on a back-to-back. It's all adjusted into the point spread or the money line and all that stuff. So we are not smarter than the odds makers as far as what the price should be. We try to be, but a lot of the times they know, who's in, who's out.
And you said it perfectly, because Vegas already knows. Okay, so they're not going to set a number. This Murray last week, Dak. Okay, they open up Dallas -2.5, and as soon as Dak was going to be a game time decision, they said, okay, we're not going to get blasted here. They just flipped it immediately to the Vikings -2.5, and the real carrot on Sunday was them showing Dak warming up, going through all the motions. So everyone's running to the window. Dak's going to play. Do I bet the Cowboys?
Yeah.
Do I bet the Cowboys? And it's all a mental game. That's what it is, Andrew. It's a mental game, and you don't want to get caught. We preach about every game's, the same, one unit at a time. You talked about it when we started the show today, and I love what you said. I am now honing in on my volume. If you got 6 games you like, maybe you're putting 2 or 3 of them full unit, and then maybe you're doing half units on a couple of them, and you're doing a couple props. That's what it's all about, Andrew.
Well, it's the funny thing is, Jeff, the past 4 or 5 days, I wish I wasn't doing that, because had done really well, so I wish they were all big plays, but you gotta protect yourself and protect your bankroll. And the funny thing is, sometimes that best bet might not hit, and all the smaller plays will hit, and it'll kind of cancel each other out and stuff like that. But I've just realized that I'm obsessed with hockey. I love NHL. I love NHL betting. I follow it religiously. And because of that, I'm going to have action. I'm going to have thoughts on games. And there's going to be swings, like I'll be completely honest. If you looked at a chart for my NHL season, this year, it's not going to look like this. It's probably going to look more like this, up, down, and then hopefully we end on the upward trajectory. Because the players that I know that bet one play a day, they're the ones that are usually like this: up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, 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 stuff like that. For me, I'm going on a streak. I'm cooling down. I'm hitting 4 or 5 in a row, and with that kind of stuff, you have to manage your unit sizing, because if you have a bad 4 or 5 days releasing 3 or 4 picks a night, well, all of a sudden you and your clients are not having a great week. But if you're only releasing half unit plays and stuff like that, then it'll only take a few couple days to get it back. But one thing I wanted to mention is that in the NHL right now, I've been focusing big time on props. Jeff, do you ever get into NHL props?
Last time we had the show, we talked about them. I've been doing a lot of homework. I've been behind the scenes. I've been writing a lot of stuff down. I haven't actually got out and started releasing some, but have been doing my due diligence.
I got to tell you, one thing to look out for: defensemen shots on goal. Okay. I'm telling you, Aaron Ekblad, check him out. Like you got to check this guy out. It's unbelievable. I think it's every single game, but 2 or 3, he's gone over the total of his shots. And the thing is, we're talking about prices. Mitch Marner, he gets 2.5. It's -160, right? Nobody wants to bet that. Aaron Ekblad, every game this season, Jeff, has been over 2.5 shots, -125. He got 4 or 5 shots last night. The game before that, he had 3. Game before that, he had 3. It's just interesting, because these odds makers have to put these out. We don't have to bet them all, but they have to put these out. And same thing with the Edmonton Oilers. Their game against, who was it, Nashville? I took a bunch of props. I took Jesse Puljujarvi to get a point at like -120. How could I possibly get somebody like that at -120 when he's playing on the top line? He was up there with Hyman and Connor McDavid. Even if he doesn't score a goal, I'm asking for him to get me a secondary assist that will still count as a point. So meanwhile, the Oilers are minus like 200 something on the money line, and I can get this guy -120 to get me a point,
we had them earlier this week on that puck line.
Awesome.
And they won 5-2. I want to close here with the stage is yours. I want you to tell everyone, we have it scrolled right on the bottom, where they can follow you, how they can get this amazing deal for 1 month of hockey. You're on a 10-2 heater. I fully expect you to stay on this, but everyone listening, watching, that we're going to come back and take a look at this video later today. Let's get them on board for you, Andrew.
Oh, before I do that, I got to say thanks a lot for having me on. It's good to be back here with you. I respect your grind like crazy, Jeff. I see you going and doing your videos all the time. East Coast sports investors, wish you guys the best, and just happy to be back on Fridays. It feels like routine, and routine, as everybody says, is really good on mental health and really good for all of us. So happy to be back here with you on Friday. As for me, that coupon code GOAL99, right now we have a deal going at Wager Talk where it's every daily pick is 50% off, which is awesome, but it expires on Sunday. But one pick is usually $25. And so 4 of those regular picks would be $100. And this promo will give you every single NHL pick for 30 days for $99 using that GOAL99. So I really haven't even been telling people to buy my daily picks. It's just been, if you want to get into hockey, you want my picks every day, use this promo GOAL99. UFC, man, it's going to be awesome tomorrow. I cannot wait. I have one selection, one best bet, 4% play. It's not in the main event. That's going to be a watch and learn and watch and have some fun. And I'll be having a good time with those. But I have a 4% best bet in the UFC tomorrow. I'm not sure if you're a UFC guy, but it's going to be one hell of an event. So that's all for me. The CFL top play tonight goes. I can't wait for that. And it's that time of year in the CFL. And I've actually just got confirmed a couple days ago. I'm off to the Grey Cup in December. So I can't wait to go watch that. It's going to be my very first ever CFL game. And I'll be at the Grey Cup. So I can't wait.
Geez, I tell you, you're living the life, Andrew. Nice new puppy, new family member, Grey Cup. Be heading back east before you know it. We'll be catching a Bruins game and
Definitely.
Maybe even a Patriot or a Celtic game. We'll check out the schedule, but
I'd love that.
We can't thank you enough as well to have you back on Fridays. I love talking to you. And anyone watching here, you can catch Andrew at McInnis Picks, at Wager Talk, at Sports Mayflower. Go to his YouTube page, Mayflower Sports. Subscribe, hit the like button. Retweet it, whatever you guys got to do. Amazing talent here. If you ask him a question, he replies back too. So not like some of these other guys around out there. So listen, feel free to jump on board. But thank you so much. Anyone tonight wagering, always wager with your head, not your heart. If you have a problem, just pick up that phone. There's an 800 number. Reach out, ask for help. Why? Because we care. Stay in your lanes. Always stay in your bankroll. Enjoy it. Remember, this is a marathon, not a sprint. We want to see you here today, tomorrow, next week, next month, and even in 2022 and beyond. So for myself, Jeff Dawson, Andrew McInnis, we wish you the best. Have an amazing weekend, and we will see you soon.